Lifeboat.
Talking about Lifeboat.
Lifeboat.
That took a turn.
Didn't it? I mean, once again, we didn't practice, but we nailed it.
Once again.
How do we get
As usual.
from Loveboat to My Girl? That's what I'm curious about.
For better or worse, we don't practice. I listened to a podcast the other day where it sounded so ridiculously scripted and like re-recorded. Like even interviews they've done and then they've re-recorded their own questions for midway through the interview. And I was like getting the shivers and I'm like, I need something unrehearsed, unpracticed, unplanned. I'm going to put on my own podcast. Oh, God, this is what I need. Oh, God, chaos. This is amazing.
Complete mayhem.
Well, remember we did that once because you forgot to press record or something happened with the recorder.
Yeah, for
so
like
we had
10
to
minutes.
Take
do
two.
the last 10 minutes again and it felt weird and fake.
I think we did well, but
We did all right to try and recreate
Guess where it was? You wouldn't pick it.
Nah.
Professionals.
Yeah.
And I challenge you, go back and listen to the last 140 odd
Because
episodes.
we won't
and tell
remember
us.
either. So
Yeah. The first answer is correct.
The only one I've heard done really, really well that kind of sounds like it's scripted and written, but is actually entertaining is Scotty Flashheart. The Unlikely Lad, Probably True podcast.
Yeah, but I mean...
Because it's just him on his own.
Yeah.
Just like
really?
It's
He
like him
occasionally has
doing-
guests or something.
He has a lot of
didn't he
guests,
say?
but most episodes are just kind of... It's almost like a 10-minute stand-up that he's doing.
much like my sex life. Mostly alone, 10 minutes by
10 minutes
myself.
standing up.
Sometimes with someone else.
Actually, yeah.
And saying that, Scotty makes like tweets and emails hilarious.
Yeah.
somehow
It's
the
really
written
well
word,
done.
the way we read it.
He's a wordsmith, so I really enjoy the way he kind of can turn a phrase on it.
Dan Carlin's Hardcore History is a good one if anyone's keen on their history.
Oh, man,
It's
if
all
I'm Googling hardcore, it's not a podcast. I can tell you that right now.
hardcore history, though. It's good.
It's born in the Victorian era. You get a hedge
That
trimmer in here?
That one's fully scripted and they're like 3 hours long and they're amazing.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he does quotes of
What's it called?
Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. It's cool.
Nah, I'll be right.
Not a fan of history?
I mean, I just meant fake millennial. I probably should have really specified. It was just, oh my God, you're right. You're so right, Matty.
He's so right.
You're like totally
I need to read more.
I need to read more audiobooks.
Get Into Gate. This is episode 139. We're talking Stargate SG-1. The full Get Into Gate team is here. My name's Mitch. Joining me, as always, Matty.
Yo.
Brendan.
Hello.
And Rhys.
G'day, guys.
I was about to say, and Gibson. It's like that covers the rest of the
All
room.
the ones.
So,
G'day.
everyone here and accounted for. If you're listening to us for the first time, Rhys is our first-time viewer of Stargate each and every week, watching the episodes for the very first time. The rest of us, we are long-time Stargate fans. We're here to look at it with a bit of nostalgia. Rhys with a first-time watch right here in 2019, nearly 20 years ago, these episodes that we're watching.
Least.
So we're up to Season 7, Episode 6, Lifeboat. Let's see what it's about, then throw it over to Rhys and see what he thought. Entering a distress beacon on an uninhabited planet, SG-1 finds a crashed spaceship containing hundreds of people in a cryogenic sleep. Stunned by an unseen weapon, the team is struck unconscious and, upon awakening, discovers that several of the frozen personalities now inhabit Daniel's body. Written by Brad Wright and directed by Peter DeLuise.
Who wouldn't like to inhabit Daniel's body if you get the chance?
Rhys. What'd you think?
Oh, what a boring episode.
Daniel.
good was it?
Oh,
Amazing,
Jesus.
was it?
It's clearly just Michael Shanks going, oh, excuse me, guys, can we just do what I came back for? That's allow me to do a bit of acting. And all the passengers in his ship were English. They had English accents.
Yes.
All the passengers in the bloody old mate engineer's head, they were all American.
Well, the kid was American.
Yeah, and Officer Tryon was supposed to be Boston. He was supposed to have a Boston accent.
I wouldn't have thought so.
So that'll be the first planet that we'd ever come across where people have actually had different accents to each other.
Okay.
That's true, yeah. Because I think they were definitely trying to insinuate that it was kind of like a class thing. So different class people had different kind of accents. And obviously a way to make it easier for the actors when they're trying to change characters for you to, as the viewer, to try and keep track. But yeah, you're right. I can't think of an episode where people had different accents from. Even you look at like Jonas's planet when there's like those 3 separate continent countries. They all have the exact same accents.
I like the idea that they come back and in their debrief, they go into specifics like that. And it's like, and what kind of dialect? It's like, well, they sound like a bunch of Canadians putting on UK accents, sir. Oh, really? Again? Yes, again.
Compartment is secure, sir.
As good as Michael Shanks was in this, have to give a shout out to the guy who plays Farron because he was pretty great as well.
Yeah.
He had just as many people in his head
Yeah.
doing his best Gollum.
Yeah, he did a good Gollum Smeagol towards the end there.
Yeah, that was cool. I liked it.
That's one, Matty. Don't mention Lord of the Rings, mate. Yeah.
Those different camera angles for each voice weirded me out a bit with Shanks.
Oh, yeah.
There's just that
Don't
one.
blame
Down low,
Shanksy,
the
mate.
jump
That's
cunts.
Peter DeLuise.
Nah, that was Shanks.
He just
He
saw
would have given.
Mate,
Smeagol was coming out.
Excuse me, Peter. You know what I think we should do here? Different angles.
Shanksy won a Leo Award for this episode.
Big time.
Go on.
Boom.
You do you
And-
know what a Leo Award is?
I don't think anyone
No,
does.
me neither.
Oh, they're the Canadian Emmys.
Wouldn't have thought so.
Oh, I won a Logie
Wanna
for
say-
it.
Yeah,
Emmy.
you basically won a Logie for it.
Oh, he won a BAFTA.
Yeah.
So what other Canadian shows
He
are
won
there?
a Logie, yeah.
Yeah.
He won a Logie.
When you put it like that.
So I hate to burst your bubble a bit, Rhys, when you're saying this was,
Oh, we've got another spoiler coming up.
No.
Is that your new way of saying not to spoil anything?
No, not at all. Just
Not
you
to
were saying,
sink your lifeboat, but
Let me
Just
tell you what a
'cause-
wraith is.
just because you were saying, just because you were saying about Daniel being like, oh, this is the reason I came back. Well, it turns out Brad Wright actually wrote this episode last season and went, oh, no one can do it, and he shelved it.
oh, dig it.
And then only when
Whatever.
Shanksy came back, he went, oh, now I've got someone who can do this.
Now I've got a real thespian.
Now I've got
on
a
my
real
hands.
actor.
What, you did stage plays? Oh, well, have I got an episode for you?
I've done
sir?
Hamlet, mate.
He's got it in a glass frame in his office, and it's break in case of Shanks.
Yeah, that's it. He wrote, Matt mentioned this, it was like Jonas, and then he's just gone, nah, he's just put it up on the shelf and just forgotten about it.
Yeah.
And like Shanks gets his copy of the script and it's all just Jonas crossed out and says Michael instead.
We wrote it for you. We did.
I promise.
And we did an episode called Lifeboat, which is a lot of fun for me because I'm an amazing actor.
I want a Leo. I want a
Actually,
Leo.
you won an award, yeah.
I almost forgot about
Real
that.
good at that, yeah.
You think it would look like a lion, but it doesn't.
Does it look like a DiCaprio?
It looks like a
A Ninja Turtle?
looks like a Ninja Turtle. It looks like a samurai sword.
It actually looks like Joe Pesci from the Lethal Weapon franchise. It's really weird.
Okay.
It sits there all day. It's going, okay, whatever.
Very funny. Okay.
Every time I watch this episode, it makes me wish like either it had come out a few years earlier or I'd still been in high school when this came out, because I would just love to plagiarize the fuck out of it and turn it into like a one-act play, senior drama class or something like that. Oh, I would fucking love.
I thought you were going to say you wanted to whack off over the dead bodies. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Naturally.
Of the four people in the room, I'm the one you think would say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Why
why
not?
not? That's
You've
fine.
said worse things we've had to
Vibe
cut
I'm
out.
putting out.
Brett and I did a similar thing. We broke down a really serious drama for a grade
Yeah.
12 drama class.
The great Academy Award
Winning
potentially
film.
nominated.
Did you get a Logie
Yeah.
for it?
We should have. It was amazing.
At least a nomination. It's
He
just
was-
honoured to be nominated.
He was Doug Butabi, I was Steve Butabi, and we
Oh,
were a Night at the
Jesus.
Roxbury, and we broke that down. They they actually said that was the class project. They said get like a TV
movie.
show or a movie
Yeah.
and just do
Act
like
out
a
a
3-minute
Ah.
scene. We went up there and did like 6 different scenes over 18 minutes,
Beautiful.
and f***ing nailed it.
Yeah.
I wish I had.
There we were, standing, waiting to use the payphone.
I know, right? This is the best bit.
I had.
Emilio!
I think about 0 people in our class had seen the movie too. They were just like, what the f*** are they saying?
What are they talking about?
I would have loved that. I had.
I swear to God.
The Mighty Ducks
Right
man.
there.
He does, man. I swear to God, it's right there.
So you guys want to make out or what?
Anyway, that's episode 139. We're off to watch Night at the Roxbury now and relive our youth.
I got to watch that
haven't
again.
seen it.
Number?
You still haven't seen it?
Still haven't
It
seen
doesn't
it.
surprise me.
Number.
We can do it right now.
My wife is such a massive fan of Will Ferrell. Was before I met her. We've been together now for 10 years. I still don't think she's seen it. Like,
Yeah.
it's just one of those movies. It's like, yeah, it's still SNL days. It's before Anchorman and Talladega Nights and even earlier ones than that where it's just like, it's, with the forgotten Will
Well,
Ferrell.
that's when you know you're a big fan because Will Ferrell wasn't even the main lead in that.
Yeah.
No, he
movie.
wasn't. No.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the other bloke.
I would
The
have.
guy- the other short guy.
Who became the other bloke, who's now appearing on the Today Show. And like, Chris Kattan talks about the things he did 18 years ago.
I would have loved
Bill
to
and
have done
Ted.
that.
Yeah.
Not Keanu Reeves, the other guy.
Ted.
Are you Paulie Short? No, I'm not. I just kind of look like him weirdly. I got that weird face thing.
Corky
going.
Romano is the movie
Yes.
that guy did.
Everybody loves Raymond.
Yeah.
Is Corky
Everybody
Romano...
loves, everybody
That's
loves
right.
Jonas. Corky.
Corky.
Corky Romano seems like Chris Kattan's version of like if those two were in Wayne's World and like Mike Myers went on to make like Austin Powers and everything else, and Dana Carvey went off and made
Corky Romano.
The Master of
turtleneck.
Disguise.
Am I not turtly enough for your turtle club?
Yeah, we'll make a sequel out of that, bro.
Yeah. One of the biggest hits, 100 million at the box office, if you don't mind. Like bloody
It's like you watching
Jackie Chan's The Suit. One of the great movies.
Great. Rush Hour 3 it could have been.
Hey, they're making a Bill and Ted 3, so like
Yeah.
dreams do
Yeah.
come true,
Yeah.
guys. You know.
For that one guy.
Yeah, that one, he's the other
One
guy.
guy.
You get Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter, right?
Is that his name?
Keanu Reeves makes Speed. He makes The Matrix.
Yeah.
He like has 10 years off doing his own projects.
Wick.
Comes back, makes John Wick. Now he's in video games. He is fucking Keanu Reeves.
Toy Story 4,
Toy Story,
yeah.
my God, Duke Kaboom.
Yeah.
The greatest 80s action hero you never had. Like, he is on, like, an absolute tear at the moment. And Alex Winter's like, yeah, we're going to make Bill and Ted 3. It's going to happen.
He's
It's like,
ripping
stop
tickets
saying
at the
that.
movie theatre.
It's just him. He's made it like Be Kind Rewind style. In his garage, he's made his own version where he's got like a mop that he's spray painted black on. That's Keanu.
Is it-
That's totally Bill.
He's a rapper trying to make it out of his garage.
It's like Keanu's like, George Carlin died, so I'm not sure if we would. No, it doesn't. Just
Doesn't
recast.
matter.
Recast.
We'll
God,
be
I've
relevant.
written 4 different scripts.
We'll be relevant. We'll
Think about
change him into a black woman. Like, it'll be fine. We'll be like socially relevant.
Chris Rock can do it. Chris Rock can do it.
Eddie Murphy, that guy can do anything. Put him in a fat suit, doesn't matter.
You can do Carlin. Easy.
Sorry, Matty, what were you saying?
Yeah, sorry.
Get
Anyway,
Louis
It's-
C.K. in there.
What? Louis C.K.
Why does that guy jerking off into a pop plant? I don't know, but he's got a time machine. It doesn't matter.
Hey, guys, get out. This is my jerk-off booth.
It's fine. He's the blackest white guy I know.
Oh, man. So at the start, when they found those stasis pods and that light force came through, I'm like, oh, shit, Omar DeSala's back.
The stunner thing.
They all got knocked out. I'm like, are they all ascending?
You thought it was Omar.
Ooh.
The
Different
Desal-
colour, though.
Oh, don't be racist.
Did you notice? I think the Russian team's been demoted. So back in last
Are
season,
they still around?
well,
No, they're
well, I
not.
mean they're all dead now, I suppose. But they were SG4 back in Metamorphosis
Right, yeah.
when Jonas got
There's only one of them
went
left.
through the thing. Yeah. Well, no, he died as well, didn't he? He turned to water in the cage down below.
Yeah, there was one chick. Was there a chick on the team?
No, that was the
That was
tomb.
back in the tomb.
Oh,
I
that
think.
was,
yeah.
right.
It's the one where they all turn into puddles of water.
Yeah, but SG4 were the team that brought SG1 back when they got knocked out by that stunner,
Yeah, right.
and they were all just American dudes.
So maybe they're SG3 now.
Who? The
Russians.
Russians.
That sounds like a promotion to
Or
me.
maybe they're SG11.
Yeah, I was going to say they need to go back.
Surely.
They need to be knocked back further, or maybe there is just no Russian team yet until they, after the last lot died. Maybe they're trying to train up some new guys over in
Right,
Russia.
like every time we send them over, they just die within 2 days.
Oh, weird, right?
Coincidence. Oh.
Yeah.
When Daniel came back through the Stargate, he turned around and tried to run back in it. And I was spewing that they turned it off.
Oh, turn it up. No one wants to hear it. You negative bullshit.
Same with me in your first 5 seasons of Jonas.
5 seasons. He's only in it for 1, luckily.
Yeah, but he's a whinging about him for 5.
Oh, we'll whinge about him for another 5.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You won't.
Retroactively.
You'll love him now. Yeah, but that was hectic when he woke up and then he just screamed in Tilk's face. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, there's a few. I got a few
That's a
goosebumps.
good gif now.
Every time even re-watching it, I get goosebumps with that because you can just, as an actor, you can just murder that. Like, do it terribly.
The Janet and Kevon when Daniel is the little boy and he's telling the story about how he wanted to. I cry every time I watch that. I tear up. Just if you think about. just the story itself and just the way he does it and just I wanted to stay and then like the kid even touches without even realizing the kid touches on like the fact that the whole lottery was rigged but he was too young to realize like that all the sovereigns made it on but not everyone. I had to watch this episode. Like I normally watch these episodes twice because I watch it once just for enjoyment, and then I watch it a second time to go and grab audio, or sometimes I'll even listen to it a third time for like the audio commentary as well. Every time that scene, I'm like tears in the eyes, tears in the eyes, tears in the eyes.
For me, it was like when the dad came in, and like Daniel's transition from whoever it was, the sovereign, into the boy.
Yeah.
Or the lieutenant into the boy. I was like, whoa, that's.
And then to find out that the other guy, like, that's his son. Like, he's talking to his son in the body of Daniel Jackson.
That's true, yeah. He reacted quite well as well when he's like, father? It's like, oh,
Wouldn't you grab him, though? Even though it's Daniel Jackson's body, you'd be like, holy shit, my son.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, surely. Surely you just hug it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was,
you think
good.
Demi Moore. She saw Patrick Swayze and Whoopi Goldberg's body in Ghost. You know, she saw through the physical barrier and just connected with the soul. So it's possible.
So the thing to me, I assume once this what's his name?
Farron.
Fagoki?
Farron.
That's
When
Fahrenheit
left his pod and realised that everyone was dying, do you think, so I only assume that his kid died and then he found him dead? Because wouldn't you kind of sacrifice that bank of people for your own son? I would. I'd be like, nah, sorry, bro.
No, I think...
Because the way I remembered it, they didn't mention in this, but to me it was like every 12 was a bank. And they were all powering down, so that's why he put the 12 into his head and the other 12 into Daniel's head.
Yeah. But I don't think they were dead yet, because I think once they're dead, there's no way to get their consciousness into another body.
I thought that was the whole point of it, because the lieutenant guy's going, there's no other way unless I'm dead.
Yeah, but then he said Farron found a way to bypass the safety protocols in order to do that.
Yeah, because they were dying, and if they died, then they would have been lost forever.
Yeah.
But there wasn't enough power to revive them, which is a fucked up system that they've got.
Yeah.
But there was it actually took less power and somehow less time for him to rewrite around all those safety protocols to then be able to download those consciousnesses into his head. And then I assume sort of once SG-1 got there, maybe there were some more pods that were failing.
Yeah.
And that's why he...
No, I just thought it was an interesting idea of like how many people would you sacrifice for your own child? Obviously, you'd sacrifice yourself quite easily. But how many would you be willing to give up? Because how many were on there? It was
especially if you're awake alone on the ship, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
And he seemed like a very honourable man. Like he was willing to sacrifice his son to save his people.
They put some pretty big pressure on him, right? Hey, look, if you don't kill your son, we'll do it for you. By cutting him out of Daniel.
Cut him out.
But
to me, he was more interested in saving the sovereign. That was annoying for me.
Yeah. Well, we saw an oath. But I guess that's, judging by the sovereign, like that's probably the type of tight ship that he ran. You know, if you're not going to work, you die.
Yeah, the same as the other guy.
And it was the last of their people. Like there was only 3 ships. Like their entire planet was gone. There's only 3 ships. So I guess you'd have to reevaluate. You know, what's more important. So yeah, he seemed like a very honourable man, that he would be willing to sort of take those sacrifices so that his people as a whole could live on.
But like he said, the guy, he went out and he started looking for water and food, and there was nothing but rock as far as he could go. It's like, was that before or after he decided to download everybody into his head?
It would have been before.
Yeah, because the people in his head were referring to it in a past tense.
Yeah, okay.
So it's like he went to look for help or food or water or whatever, and he's like...
Unless he told them. Would that work? have a conversation with the voices in his head?
Don't know.
Tell them what.
Wouldn't they? They would think they would refer to him in the third person still, or as we went and looked.
Yeah,
It's weird. I don't know.
it is weird.
Well, no, they kind of have conversations with themselves. Like when he's doing his Smeagol back and forth, he's
Yeah,
having a
that's what I mean.
conversation
Yeah,
with himself.
So
So they're still considering themselves individuals, same as the people inside Daniel's head. They all consider themselves an individual. They're not the
Yeah.
we.
then he's like, I don't know how much we can take, and Carter's like, we, and he's like, yeah. And Tilk's like, I think he's like Daniel Jackson. He has a whole bunch of people in his head. So
Yeah.
that was just
Well,
weird
they do
that-
say that the longer they're in there, the crazier you go. So maybe he's a bit further on than Daniel and
yeah.
starting to lose it. But yeah, because from the flashback, you see Farron come out of the pod, like when the ship crashes and all they're losing power and stuff. He's the first one to be awakened by the ship.
Mm.
And he only has a couple of minutes there to sort of, he's the only one out, and he has a couple of minutes to rewrite the code and put those people in his head as the only way to save them.
Yeah.
So I assume that happened, and then they've crashed, or that was part of the crash, and then afterwards, with 12 other people in his head, then he's gone out looking for food and water,
Yeah, possibly.
realising that he's got to survive somehow.
Yeah, it's just weird in that time frame. I wonder how long he was by himself for.
That's what I'd love to know. Yeah, because
And
the ship
what did he eat?
the ship didn't look freshly crashed. Like there was no sort of burning embers or anything like that going on. It looked like it had been there a while.
And he said they had provisions, just not enough to keep everyone awake for
Okay.
unlimited amount of time, for all
Yeah.
they knew.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So he was just digging into the chocolate cookies and
Yeah.
all the good shit.
Those little protein bars that Daniel took to chuck
Just
up.
made me think, like, if he had have not stunned SG-1 and Carter had have hooked up the Naquadah generator, could his son still have survived? That was my main question.
Yeah, right. Well, that's what Carter said to him. Like, why didn't you just ask us instead of trying to? Yeah, and he's like, you wouldn't have agreed.
Yeah.
Little did he know that they could have brought a power source to him
Yeah.
big enough to help everyone.
I mean, however long he's been there, he's been waiting for a rescue, and then the first people that rock up, he stuns to almost half to death.
Yeah, help!
Such a weird motive.
And
help! Ah, you gotcha.
And then
Everyone's come to help. Ah, sucker!
and then knowing the Stargate universe, he would have tried to put Carter in there, but it's like, the Naquadah and her blood would have stopped it from happening.
Yeah.
And then Teal'c wouldn't have been able to get them either, so he only would be able to use Jack and Daniel. And he's like, god damn it.
Daniel's
I'm surprised.
ascended, so-
Yeah, I was
That
going to
would've
say,
been
I'm
interesting.
surprised Daniel was able to do it because he was ascended. It's his special power.
Jack's had the ancient knowledge. So,
Yeah.
Oh,
they're all
Jack,
immune.
Jack also had that Tok'ra in him,
Oh,
so...
God, he's double immune.
Oh,
Yeah.
no doors.
Boom.
They never talk about that, do they? That he would have that protein marker.
No.
No, well, I think it was because Jolena, didn't she like deteriorate inside Carter's head?
Ew.
Isn't
Yeah.
that why? Isn't that
Yeah.
why? Like got all wet and soggy and just
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
And that's
Joel and I
with-
was already dying and decided
yeah.
to...
Whereas Jack's one just escaped,
Yeah, just
ran away.
jumped out.
Say ran,
So you
squirmed away.
You don't reckon he just came in his throat and left a protein marker?
I reckon he did, but for the sake of the episode, probably not. I mean, I like to hope he did. Sucker! Now you're gonna die. Bale's gonna kill you.
That was Tok'ra.
No wonder Jack doesn't trust him.
Not only that, he came in my throat, Daniel.
My
Symbiote sperm in the back of my neck.
Speaking of RDA, I couldn't believe it when I found out this. His father actually passed away while this episode was being filmed. So he was actually absent for most of the episode. He went away and dealt with all his family stuff. And then, so they actually had all the scenes where you see like the back of Jack, like in the isolation room, watching Daniel and Fraser.
Tyler.
Yeah, that was Siler or his other stand-in doing that. And then Jack came back a few days later so they could get reaction shots. But how's this? As hard as those scenes must have been for Terrell and Daniel, they actually redid those scenes for RDA when he came back so he could actually give like proper reactions.
Wow.
And I was
Jesus.
like, whoa.
I'd be like, watch the tape, bro. Fuck you.
Or just pretend, just imagine,
Well,
as an actor, imagine what they're doing and
It
react
was on
to
the
it.
Yeah.
screen anyway, so they could have just done that.
Kind of makes me think
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Shanksy and Terrell must have just had a fucking awesome time doing
Yeah,
those scenes. That
I
would have
think
been.
they did.
They haven't been able to, like, Terrell in particular hasn't been able to do anything that juicy ever, I don't think, on Stargate.
It kind of. I was thinking halfway through, it's like, does Dr. Fraser like make it a lockdown thing so she can talk to this guy because she finds it so fascinating that he's got multi-personality.
Medical
He's like,
team only.
I'm locking this down. No one's allowed in. And then she talks to him for ages. It's like, you could have got a lot of information out of the Sovereign. Have you told him the whole story? But she's like, we don't know what happened.
Yeah, she like tries to make friends with the kid, and then she's standoffish with the Sovereign. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you trying to play a game, or are you a doctor? Like, what are you?
I
What
just
is your aim
think
here?
she's just fascinated by it and didn't want anyone else to intervene.
Daniel Jackson.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't find that. I found that the Sovereign to be the one really standoffish with her to begin with. And what was the engineer guy?
Trying.
Tryon, yeah. He seemed to be the
Trying
only
too hard.
one. He seemed to be the only one that could actually give her information because she seemed to be trying to get information out of each of them. That's what you did.
Yeah,
there.
but she never freely gave up any information until Trine came out either. It wasn't like, oh, your ship crash landed on the planet, and then we've brought you back here.
I guess
So
at that point they didn't know if he was a Goa'uld yet or not, right?
Yeah, they didn't know what was
Yeah,
happening at
maybe.
that point. It wasn't until Tryon started giving information about the pods and Tryon was the one that kind of summarised that, we must all be in here and blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
I guess
blah,
I'm
blah,
just
blah.
looking at it in hindsight as well.
No, I loved the way that Terrell was able to turn and deal with each one. Like, she was able to talk with Tryon like on an equal level, and they were both freely exchanging information to try and help and sort of sort the situation out. Then when Keevan comes in, she becomes very sort of motherly and friendly and consoling this little kid. And then I love that turn, the way like the kid's crying in her lap, and then there's just that shot of just like Shanksy just like fist tightening, grabbing onto like her coat, and then it's the Sovereign again.
Yeah,
And then I
that's cool.
love the fight with her and Sovereign where like they're just yelling at each other. She's like, I don't give a damn. You're not having that man's body because I want it.
Yeah.
Because he's hot. He's so hot right now.
Take your clothes off right now.
The only way we can save you is if you get naked right now.
And then in the Siler bloody hurt again in the infirmary.
Yes.
Excuse me, doctor is sitting there with bloody
Oh, you don't see
cotton
it.
up his nose.
Yeah. Apparently that was the creation of Peter DeLuise for this whole season.
Just as a little side note, Siler has bashed his nose in the background. Siler's always hurt in the infirmary. I think we did it 3 or 4 times during the course of the season. As we were in the infirmary, and Siler was always there with some kind of pain, some kind of injury. Just as a side note, as a way of getting Siler in there, it was kind of fun that he was so accident-prone that he just kept hurting himself.
So I think it is this season where they kind of wrap that up, because I think we mentioned to you in the past, Rhys, there's actually one, you can't see it, but apparently one of the times Siler is in bed in the infirmary, they've actually got his giant spanner, and it's lying in bed next to him.
Right.
And that's when like Cooper and Brad Wright are like, okay, we can retire the joke now. That's enough. That's enough. We can't go any further
That's
than
great.
that.
When Farron is telling Tilk and Sam his kind of backstory about how, like, when the ship woke him up, I noticed something in the background that I'd never heard before. Mitch, have you-
Why did you not attempt to revive the others?
After the ship crashed, we still don't know why it happened. He was revived by the computer.
Attention, stage 1. Laser cutting begins.
The power requirement of his restoration caused too great a drain in the rest of the compartment.
Stage 2. Warm liquid goo phase beginning.
Power levels were dropping.
Warm liquid goo phase complete. Stage 3. Reanimation
Farron
beginning.
had only minutes to restore power to 12 of the sleeper chambers before the occupants were dead.
Reanimation complete.
There wasn't enough time. Farron was failing them one by one. There was no other choice. No other way to preserve us.
Evacuation beginning.
I actually need to go to the toilet right now. This is killing me.
Neither was there sufficient water or... water or...
I literally cut out 40 seconds of pissing. It goes for so long, that scene.
But I'm not allowed to say Star Trek. Yeah,
Oh, that's too, Matty.
there is no justice in the world.
But to back up, yeah, sorry.
I'm just surprised that there's just so many avenues for Austin Powers references
Oh, mate.
in this season alone.
I'm happy there is.
I feel like there's going to be even more as the season progresses.
But not
Hope
only
so.
that, I found that Daniel also had issues with the unfreezing process.
Daniel, it's okay. Don't be afraid. Sergeant! It's okay.
Who are you?
Who's responsible for this? I demand to know why this has happened! Who are these people?
Algae is a temporary side effect of the unfreezing process.
Why am I a prisoner?
Those may be removed when you decide to calm down.
Where am I?
In a military facility on a planet called Earth.
I'm ordinarily a very rational man.
Of course you are, Dr. Jackson.
Just find the small woman and tell her that she...
Got a fabulous body. I bet she shines like a minx.
It's so weird when
Horny.
you watch things.
Horny.
What you pick up.
Yeah, it's a deleted scene. Or that was that in it.
See, Rhys, you
That
wouldn't
was
know because that was your
actually,
that was your first watch. So you
Yeah.
wouldn't have you wouldn't have
missed all
seen
of
I
that.
must have been taking notes while that was happening. That's amazing. So whose kid was it? Was it that
It's
Farron?
actually
Farron's, yeah.
Daniel's,
That is one of the many
one of the other ones.
off-world kids.
It's Farron. 'Cause remember in the flashback, you see Farron putting a little kid into the pod.
Yeah. So who was he? Was
The kid.
just like a ship boy. Not the kid. That like Farron was.
He was an officer.
He was
was
an
an engineer.
officer. That's why he was
He was-
allowed to take one.
No, Trine was the engineer. Farron was.
Yeah, and Farron was his superior. He was an officer.
Farron was the
Right.
guy whose body you see.
Yeah. I'm just wondering why he could take a family member.
Because
Turns out Rhys has not been paying attention.
There's
I
like
was
8 characters
said I
to
was an-
keep pay attention for.
The little
said
kid.
my father could go because he was an officer. He could pick one family member, and my
Yeah.
mother made him pick.
Yeah.
one.
No, I just couldn't remember
Yeah,
what it was.
that's
but
who he was.
Farron.
Fair enough.
Farron.
Fair enough.
It's time for the Get Into Geek Harry mailbag.
Shit, yeah, looking forward to this one, guys.
Oh yeah, why's that?
I got an iTunes review.
Oh,
Can you believe it? 3 weeks in a
Bazinga.
row.
Don't.
I could not believe this. 5-star review. Love this podcast
Full
by
stops.
Loris27 from the United States of
Laurie
America.
S27.
L'Oreal.
Loris Tyrell.
Need more air in my hair.
The air up there. Huge fan of SG1, but I've been away from it for a while. I stumbled on this podcast and I've gotten rehooked on the show all over again. Listening to these guys chatting about the show is like watching and analysing it like the super SG1 geek that I am, and like having a conversation with gate-addicted friends I never knew I needed. And now I am seriously addicted to this podcast. If you like Stargate SG1, love nitpicking, the details, and having a sense of humour, this is the podcast for you.
Sensational,
Thank
Laurie
you.
Thanks,
S27.
L'Oreal.
I've got an email here from Santos Gonzalez.
Espanol.
Wow, let's start that again.
Oh,
He says-
Maddie can do an Irish accent, but I can't do Spanish. Jesus.
Don't assume,
I'm
mate.
actually 1/10 Spanish.
He says, "Hey guys, greetings from Utah. Love the podcast.
Oh, El Yuto.
Love the podcast, and you guys, it's the #1 podcast of my life.
Holy
Whoa,
shitballs.
get a life.
And look forward to it every week.
Santos, what are you doing?
Well, anyway.
appreciate it.
Oh, you're in trouble now, Rhys.
Oh, what?
Well, anyway, I have 10 years of military combat experience. He's going to fuck you up.
Yeah, well, there's no guns in Australia, so good luck.
And just wanted to clarify exactly what they meant on the show about the live fire exercise.
Oh,
That's what
yeah,
we're talking
cool.
about that from Fragile Balance.
The
with
gliders
the
and
gliders and stuff.
Yep.
He says it simply means that these new X-302 pilots, or I guess F-302 pilots, would conduct basic combat maneuvers and engage stationary targets in the air. Most likely balloons. Maybe it's the balloon people from last season.
Oh, yeah. Perfect training.
Or stationary targets on the ground designated as gliders or Jafar respectively, with live ammunition. So the pilots can get a feel for how to operate the 302 and how it feels to utilize its weapons in flight in a real-world scenario. It does not mean that they would have other pilots in gliders to be shot down. That can only end badly. That makes so much sense.
Thought so.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit weird.
Because even someone put a comment on something we posted. It's like, oh, maybe what if it was like the Rebel Jafar? Like, we'll take you on for a bit of fun. We'll have some. And I'm like, but yeah, they're going to be shooting each other down.
Yeah.
So yeah, that totally makes sense. I love that.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Santos.
Message from Anthony Diamond.
Oh,
Diamond right.
A-Diamond.
Hard as a bloody diamond, old Anthony.
Just found your podcast when looking for something new to listen to. Massive Stargate fan and loving the show. In a week, I have managed to get through seasons 1, season 2, and half of 3.
Stop it.
Wowzers.
Jeez.
1 week.
That's 50, like just over. If you did it halfway through, that's 55 episodes.
I mean,
in a
Anthony
week.
must have a boring job, let's be honest.
I hope
listening
he was
to us
listening
all
at
day.
double speed or something.
Yeah,
'cause
that'll
Jesus.
help. I'm catching up faster than it takes Jack to make a Simpson reference on SG1. No, not really, but I'm catching up now.
Nicely done.
Tony.
Shine bright, Tony.
Dymo.
Rhys, there's
Diamundo.
one here.
Monday.
Well,
Dynamite.
I want to say with your name on it, but it's literally got your name on it. And
Is it from me?
I maybe,
Probably.
but I want you to read it. I feel
Me
like
to read it?
It demands that you read this.
All right, chuck the bag over here.
Oh, wait, and do it. It's real good.
Yeah.
You
Do
know
it.
what I mean?
Just as a throwback. Oh yeah, give it to me.
Yeah.
Kimberly Turk.
Hang
All
on,
right,
further
well,
throwback,
Channel
ready?
your
Come on.
inner Morgan Freeman.
Do it.
Oh,
Do it. Do some more. Do it.
my inner
slowly.
Morgan Freeman.
Don't do a Morgan
Well,
Freeman.
Talk dirty
I
to
love
me.
listening to Rhys's sexy voice. You keep my long commute to work enjoyable. Keep it up, guys. Kimberly Turk.
Well, you're keeping it up for Kimberly.
Tell you what, if Kimberly lived in like the southeast Queensland area, she would actually be creating traffic hazards listening to you
look.
do the
Yeah.
traffic, because she'd have the Rhys going, it's a good drive to work this morning, blah, blah,
dear.
blah, blah. And she'd be, oh my God, off the road and just, creating all kinds of hazards. So then you could be talking about her. Ah, full circle.
Tell you what, Kimberly, you
Yeah.
love listening to me. I love you, baby.
Oh, Jesus.
How's that?
You just flooded her basement, mate.
I usually charge $5.95 a minute for that.
Oh.
Ho!
Oh, it's time to find out if Rhys has been paying attention. 5
Yeah, it was
questions.
something like that. Here we go.
Yeah,
5
here we
questions for you, Rhys.
Please.
What
Do I do?
do I do?
Saying out of tune. Would you stand up and walk out on me?
30 seconds on the clock.
Lend me
starts
your
after
ears and
this
I'll
question.
play you a song.
What was the
I will
technology?
try not to sing out of key. Oh, baby, now!
Try a little help from my friends.
Oh!
Well done, boys. We practiced that one, clearly.
I didn't know I knew that many words with that song. There you go.
Obviously
Molly,
seen,
Molly.
The Wonder Years.
What was the name of the crashed ship?
Oh, the John Stamos, the Stromos.
Correct. Where was the ship's intended destination?
Adina.
Correct. What title did Matisse hold?
He was a sovereign, my teeth.
Correct. Who was Keenan?
He was the kid.
Correct. What did Carter use to power the stasis pod? You got this.
Gimmies.
Easy.
Oh. Magnetic generator!
Down to 10. I didn't expect you to get at least 3 of them.
They were easy.
Most of my notes are just pissy notes because I knew you'd be asking all me these.
Well,
these
that's what we
questions.
want, mate. We need you to pay heed. That's what we're after.
Oh, what does that dickhead have to say now?
Rhys, I don't want you to go.
Oh,
I want to be your friend.
stiff shit, mate. Can't win them all.
Oh, well done. What a way to cap it off. A Daniel episode and all ends happily for Rhys. So,
Sensational.
So the way to
Onwards.
get Rhys to pay attention is to have a really good Daniel episode.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
No, well, I've literally got 2 lines of notes, and one of them is just notes on names and shit.
Might be a closed book quiz next week then, eh?
Let's hope it's not got Daniel in it.
Sure does. It's one of his great ones. Enemy Mine.
Oh, yeah.
Sexy
Give it to
Daniel.
me.
Sexy do-rag Daniel.
Oh, yeah, the do-rag's back.
That's episode 139 of Get Into Geek. Next week we are back to talk episode 7 of season 7, Enemy Mine, another Peter DeLuise special written and directed by the big man. Until then, you can check out all of our old podcasts. If you are new to the show, just search Get Into Geek, a Stargate podcast on your favourite podcasting outlet. Follow us on the socials, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, searching Get Into Geek, a Stargate podcast, or getintogeek@gmail.com to drop us a longer line. Send us in a voicemail, if you would.
Hey, if you need a bit of a lifeboat during the week, jump on our Patreon, you know, just to see you through the work week.
I'm Mitch_Lewis on Twitter and Instagram. Matty is...
At High Pitch Matty.
Brendan.
At the Bren Gibson.
And Rhys.
That's the Flying Gibson.
Back for more Daniel and others next week on Get Into Geek with Enemy Mine.
Get Into Geek.